Welcome. My name is Ashok Kumar Reddy Polu. I am Sergeant of Arms for the today. Welcome you all to the 99th meeting of Speakers Code Toastmasters meeting. I think we are just small step away from the milestone. So, okay. So in order to have smooth and great experience, there are few ground rules that we need to follow. Please mute. Please keep on mute until you are not speaker. And I encourage you to come on video whenever it is possible. Whenever you are going away from your device, so please turn off your video and keep on mute. And encourage speakers with your energy and claps. Okay, those are few ground rules that you can follow to make better experience. And as everyone has mission, Toastmasters also have mission. So the mission of Toastmasters is to provide collaborative and positive platform where people can practice their communication skills and leadership skills. So please participate in meeting to gain these experiences. So let me invite President's Officer for today. She is president of our Toastmasters Club and she is a very active team member and path breaker also. So over to you, Jayanti.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ashok. Please, let's give a big round of applause first. And the second thing, I want everyone to come on camera. Priya, Ritika, Ramesh, Deepa, and then we'll start. Okay, good to see you, Ritika.
Give me 5 minutes, I'll be on camera, Jayanti.
Sure, Deepa. And Ramesh, I know you're traveling, but if possible, do come on camera. Okay, no problem. So first of all, thank you, Toastmaster Ashok. I know you are busy, but still you took some time to come here and start the meeting as our essay today. And today I am your presiding officer and I am welcoming you all to our 99th session. We're just one meeting away from our century. So welcome you all and I start the meeting here. Now, coming to our guests, I see only one guest today, not Toastmaster yet. So Nivedita, welcome you. Good morning. And how are you feeling today? This is your second meeting.
Yeah, thanks for recognizing, Jayanti. Yeah, I'm feeling well. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. And I hope you also have a great time. Now coming to quickly the announcements because we have a lot of things today. We have 3 power pack speech, so I'm excited. Now coming to the announcements. First thing is the Forza Division F contest. And we already have seen 2 of our members are the role takers. Toastmaster Richa, she is the contest master. And there is one other member I'll not disclose because he's one of the he's one of the members in voting panel. And of course, the good thing is Toastmaster Ritika will be contesting in evaluation and table topics. So what else is there to be present and encourage them physically? So I will be there, but I'll share the registration link with you all. Those who have not registered but want to be there, go ahead and register. We'll all meet there. The second announcement I have is, yes, for our 100th session, which is next week, based on the voting, we will go ahead with the speech marathon. So all of you who can, not who can, wherever you are in your project, just give a speech next week. Doesn't matter you're prepared, not prepared, good, bad. The purpose of speech marathon that you come here and give a speech. So wherever you, which project, which level, whichever project, whichever level you are, doesn't matter. Come and give a speech. I will also be giving a speech and I encourage all of you to participate actively in our 100th session. And the third one is, yes, the announcement we did last week is for the award. So all the Toastmasters who will be taking 5 different roles in this 5 weeks, starting from this session, will be given a surprise gift. So that's the announcement for this week again. And that's all on the announcements. And let's start the meeting. I will quickly hand over our session to Toastmaster of the day for today. And she is, give me a second. She wrote very beautifully about her. So our Toastmaster of the day has been with the club for more than a year now. She is a chartered accountant by profession and is currently working as a tax consultant in EY. Currently, she's trying up to hone her writing skills. And I have seen it in LinkedIn. If you are interested in tax, I don't know the complicated terms, but I will say that she writes stuff that I don't understand. But if you are into tax, I will let Priya speak about it. Then do follow her in LinkedIn. And then, of course, she is our VP Ed for this term and a very sweet speaker. You will see when she comes on the stage. Over to you, Toastmaster Priya. Let's give her a big round of applause.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jayanti, for that warm introduction. Yeah, and today's post will be of finance. If anyone is interested on LinkedIn, it's not of tax. I'll be posting it in later in the day. So over now, what is a Toastmaster? For any of the guests here, let me take you to the history of the Toastmasters first. In 1924 in Santa Ana, California, and was founded by Dr. Rolf C. Smedley. It has more than 16,600 clubs worldwide with 357,000 plus members across 143 countries. Coming back to today's theme. Today's theme is books. What is a book? According to me, a book is a man's best friend. They have no complaints, they have no demands, and always provide us with lots of knowledge and wisdom. So, some of the interesting facts that took me to surprise when I Googled it's a day, you would have read 1.8 million words in a year. Now that would make you a human dictionary. Former president of US, Mr. Theodore Roosevelt, read at least one book per day. God only knows how did he achieve this feat. With this, let me take you to how does a typical session of Toastmasters look like. A Toastmaster session is usually divided into 3 parts. First is prepared speeches, where members come and deliver their speeches on any prepared topic. Second is table topic speeches, wherein we get the topic on the spot and we need to deliver a 1 or 2 minute speech on the same. And third is evaluation segment. Since we have a speechathon this time, we do not have a table topic session today, but we are continuing with the prepared speeches and evaluation. With that being said, let me invite the GE for today, who is Toastmaster Jayanti. Toastmaster Jayanti is a senior business analyst by profession and is a Toastmaster for 2 years now. She is currently the president of our club. Last book which she read was one of Sudha Murthy's written and she likes to read good children's story books. She likes to read all the time. So over to you, Toastmaster Jayanti.
Thank you, Toastmaster Priya, for introducing me. Now, as the general evaluator for today, I will be evaluating everything that will take place throughout the meeting and each role taker for their performance of duties. And to present my evaluation report, I would need evaluation from my tag team. So I will quickly introduce them to brief their role. So first, coming to our timer for today, it was a last minute pickup. So thank you, Toastmaster Priya, for taking up the timer role. I would like to brief your role, but before that, I would like to know which book you are reading and what do you like about it?
So currently I am reading second part of Ramchandra series, that is Sita, Warrior of Mithila. And I like Amish Tripaঠি's writing style, blend of mythology and fiction. So I am very much reading his books now. So that's about my reading. And yes, as a timer, my role is to keep track of the time taken by each speaker and evaluator today. For prepared speeches, we usually have 5 to 7 minutes, but since we have a path completion speech this time, so that time will be 10 to 12 minutes. And I'll change my background on time to time basis, which is at 5 minutes or 10 minutes, I'll change my background to green. At 6 minutes to yellow, and at 7 minutes to red. For evaluation, the time taken is 2 to 3 minutes, and I'll be back when called upon by GE. Over to you, Toastmaster Jen.
Thank you, Toastmaster Priya. I hope you have received the timing details of Toastmaster Miruna also, because it's going to be a path completion speech.
10 to 12 minutes, right?
Okay. So then it's 10, 11, 12. Okay, great. Now coming to our R counter for today, Toastmaster Deepa. Again, before briefing upon your role, I would ask you, which book are you currently reading and what do you like about it?
Hi, good morning, everyone. Well, I'm reading a book called A Biography of Innovations. It's From Birth to Maturity. It's written by R. Gopalakrishnan, who is a veteran. I think he worked nearly about 50 odd years in Tata's, all groups of Tatas. What's beautiful about this book is he has bought the hypothesis of the birth of a child and an infant, how it matures to become itself into an adult, and how innovation also goes through this journey, right? And what are the pros and cons of not rewarding failures, right? So that's the beauty of this book. I think I almost finished half of it, few more pages to go. Okay, well, coming back to my role, as an R counter, I will be looking for crutch words like the fillers during your conversations, the repetitive words like and, if, but, and so on and so forth. And also look for some words which probably, as per your style, you're repeating during your conversation or during your speech. Okay, I'll be recording all these. I'll be scoring against everyone. So over to you, Toastmaster Jayanti, and wish you all the best.
Thank you, Toastmaster Deepa. And now coming to the grammarian for today, Toastmaster Shweta. As we know, she is known for her unique delivering style of speeches. And then she's also the current VP membership. But as grammarian, before introducing her role, again, she is invited to talk about what's the book she is reading and what does she like about it most.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jayanti. Currently, I'm reading Stranger by Albert Camus. So it is a short book, and that's what I like about it, because I have been in reading slump. So I think this is getting me out of that, and it is a pacey read, and it is a short book. So I'm almost done with it. So that's what I like about it. So coming to my role, as a grammarian, my role is to keep track of good uses and not so good uses of grammar in today's meeting. And word of the day for today is page turner, which means a book that is so exciting and or interesting that it compels the reader to continue reading eagerly. Sample sentence uses will be a thriller novel by that Jack recommended to me turned out to be a real page turner, and I finished it in one night. Or the Harry Potter series is known for being a page turner. So you can use this. I would encourage you to use this word in today's meeting. And phrase of the day for today is turn over a new leaf, which means to start anew or to make a fresh start or change for the better. Sentence example will be, after realizing the negative impact of his lifestyle on his health, Tom decided to turn over a new leaf and start eating more vegetables and exercise regularly. I'll add both of these to chat, and I encourage you to use this word, and I'll be back uh, to present my report when called upon by Jean. Back to you, Toastmaster Jayanti.
Thank you, Shweta, for introducing your role. Let's give a big round of applause for our tag team. And now we will start, but I hope you all have got few recommendations for your next book, and be careful about your grammar, accounting, and time for your speeches. So now I hand over the stage to Toastmaster Priya again.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jayanti. Ever wondered what is the most expensive book in the world and for how much was it sold? And so the most expensive book in the world was Codex Leicester, which was bought by Bill Gates for a whopping $30.8 million. And it was actually Leonardo da Vinci's diary. So, and what is the most sold book in the world? The most sold book in the world is Bible. So with that, let me take you to the prepared speeches segment. We have 3 speeches back to back and all are great speakers. So the first speaker, we don't have evaluation for it because it's a part completion speech. And so let me invite on the stage Toastmaster Miruna. She is a transitioning product manager. She had a year-long break from Toastmaster and her hobbies are oil painting and she likes skipping. She loves fiction, non-fiction, and in non-fiction, she has read The Hitler Nazi Rule, and The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, and the book Thief. With that, over to you, Toastmaster Miruna. Toastmaster Miruna, reflecting back on my part, Toastmaster Miruna.
Thank you, Priya. The first path of my pathways, I was a path breaker. And now in the second path, it absolutely broke me. I told myself that, hey, listen, the first path, I took presentation mastery. I spoke about something serious, storytelling in my comfort zone. Let's challenge yourself more. Little did I know I would be giving just one speech a year. But let me be honest with you, giving a humorous speech is very hard. It is so hard that when I was actually telling jokes, people were no longer laughing at the jokes, but were laughing at how bad the jokes actually were. I was not exactly the funny one, but the one that was being laughed at. But the path was called engaging humor. And in some way, I was still engaging and humorous. So what I exactly did was my process was let me go to Google and Google a bunch of funny jokes. Let me compile it together. And I started with Yo Mama jokes. You must have heard of that, right? Yo Mama's so fat that when she does push-ups that she actually pushes the earth down twice. Yo Mama's so fat that when she skips a meal, the stock market actually crashes. Yo Mama's so stupid that when she was looking at orange juice, she stared at it for 12 hours because it said the word concentrate. Now, from Yo Mama jokes, I transitioned to a more dark sense of humor. I found that part of the internet as well, which was dead baby jokes. Now, if I give a joke on that, I'm pretty sure that I would be banned from not just Speaker Squad, but from Toastmasters International itself. So I'm going to keep that aside. So the idea was that I was trying to compile all of this together into one speech. I did not exactly get anywhere. It just looked like a series of comedic jokes, and every single joke that I actually managed to deliver did not land. So my next phase of action was, let me go to Google and Google what are the different types of humorous speeches. And this is what I found. One is situational humor, where you take something that's happening around you. Another is self-deprecating humor, in which you are the target as the joke. Another type is slapstick humor, where you make silly faces, make silly sounds, you know, those stickers that you see on WhatsApp or those GIFs. So that is slapstick humor. Then you have another kind, which is satirical humor. Now, satirical humor is something that is more sarcastic and observational in nature. Now, this is not a joke that I made myself, but let me give you an example. Saudi Arabia will now allow women to drive. Hopefully, they will also allow Yemenis to live. Now, that was something that was quoted by Taufik one, not me. Another one would be Facebook has become like that wedding function where you can't drink at all because of all your relatives that are there. So that is another kind of humor, which is satirical. And then you have below the belt. You must have heard of AIB roast. And then you have wordplay. So one example would be Shakespeare always likes using pens when he writes because pencils confuse him to be or not to be. And then you have another type, which is dark humor, which is the dead baby jokes, which I had mentioned earlier. So I Googled all of this, made a good mix and match of funny jokes. I barely put all of this together. And when I delivered it, did not exactly land as right. So, I mean, towards the end of that, during the end of my first two speeches, I was pretty let down. And I almost hated every Toastmaster who preached, get out of your comfort zone, push your limits. Oh my God. I listened to them and now I was stuck with this path, which was not getting me anywhere. At this point, I remembered one of the most famous poems by Robert Frost, and I'll just read it out to you. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. Then took the other just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as far as the passing there had warned them really about the same. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. I took the one less traveled by. Bad mistake. It did make a difference. The difference was that I knew that humor was not for me, and I was foolish to even attempt it in the first place. Few weeks went by. I had not really given any speech so far, and at that time I was the VP education of my club, very new to Bangalore Toastmasters. And since I was the VP ed, people really pushed me that, hey, listen, Mirna, go sit for the humorous contest. So I was thinking of, okay, let me narrate a silly incident that happened to me in college, and let's just see how this goes. So this was what the speech was about. In fourth year of college, I sat for placements like everyone did. And the placement season was when you start to see animals out of your friends. They no longer behave like human beings. It becomes the survival of the fittest, right? The strong preys on the weak, the coders prey on the non-coders and steal all the jobs out there. It was pretty much a bloodbath. So in that way, I sat for a company, cleared the aptitude round, and I was pretty happy. So when the group discussion round was there, my friends and I, we sat in a group, we were preparing very hard for it, right? While preparing, I just thought, let me go over what the company is even about. And when I realized that, okay, the goals of the company is not matching for me, the way that the organization is structured is not really up to my liking. But to be honest, it was just the fact that there was another company with a better CTC coming around. So I thought, okay, I need to somehow not clear this, right? Like I said, bloodbath, survival of the fittest. So when my friends and I were preparing really hard, Googling out how to stand out in a GD, how to make the clearest points, how to not speak over another speaker, I knew in myself that group discussion was easy for me to crack. I could speak sense most of the time, and I always had an opinion about something. But since I didn't want this company, I had to fail this, right? So the 4 hours that I took was just to condition myself, telling me that, Mirana, please don't speak. Please don't talk. If anyone says anything, keep your mouth shut. Easier said than done, right? So next day morning, I entered the group discussion hall, so confident in my abilities, right? I was like, yes, I'm going to do this. You're going to keep your mouth shut throughout. You're going to, fail the group discussion. And the topic of the group discussion was the welfare of the farmers and how to improve their income. My father at that time was also doing farming on the side, and I had pretty solid points to say. So my friends and I, we were sitting on a round table. The panel moderators, which were basically the company hirers, was sitting on the other end of the table. Thank God, because I didn't have to make any eye contact with them. And few of my friends were sitting on the opposite side. After about 15 minutes in the group discussion, it was going great. I was so bad that the most shy girl in the entire college still managed to speak more than I did. I was so proud of me. I did not take any leadership qualities, did not deliver any strong points, did not show any agreement with any member. It was going great. I was so bad that the moderator from the other side of the table just peeped her head out and was trying to nudge me like, hey, say something. And I just tried to look anywhere except at her direction. My friends on the other side of the table were like, Mirna, what are you doing? And I said, okay, I can't avoid this for too long. Let me just say 2 to 3 words to keep themselves quiet. And so I said, in order to improve the welfare of the farmers, we not only look at the produce for the poorer sections of society, but also look at how to leverage methods to produce organic vegetables and cater more to the richer sections in order to remove the number of middlemen. A common thing that is also overlooked is about the fertility of the soil. So looking at sustainable farming methods will not only improve the revenue, but also look at the overall health of the soil long term. So that happened. I was telling myself that, oh, Mirna, what did you do? 15 minutes, you were doing so well. But you would have at max spoken 3 lines, 15 seconds, does not really look too bad. I was confident that I would not exactly get through. So when it came to the end of the group discussion where we had to summarize, each of us had to speak about what were the points that we took, the good points and the bad points. So my friends, very robustly, flamboyantly, they would say that I completely agree with speaker number 3 speaking about this point. I disagree with speaker number 5. And when it came to my turn to overcompensate for that mistake that I had made earlier, decided to just forget how to speak English, right? So I took my notebook and I said, speaker number 3, good. Speaker number 5, not good. Speaker number 7, very, very good. When we were done with the group discussion, my friends came to me and told me that, Mirna, thank you so much. Because of you, because you did so badly, I might have a better chance of moving over to the next round. Right, good for them. I was very happy for them. I came back to my hostel, washing my clothes, and I was preparing for the other company's interview. And my friend came back shouting and telling me that, Mirna, you passed the group discussion and you have an interview scheduled for tomorrow. I was thinking, oh man, okay, another round of trying to convince them that I am not good enough. This is going to be another challenge. But I decided to take another approach. When it was my turn for the interview, I went and I told them straight up that, hey, listen, I'm preparing for my master's. I am at this point writing GRE, even though I didn't even know what GRE was all about. So this story of mine, which happened, according to me, did not exactly fit the common comedy types or the common humorous styles that you had seen initially. It was mainly just situational, something silly that happened to me. When I was struggling to find topics that were funny, I turned to just look around at my own life and the stupid things that really go around on a daily basis. I started to speak more about the situations at home, the relationship I have with my family. I even remember at one humorous division speech, I spoke about the adventures of Mirna and her scooty. And I named the scooty Chakkalingam because I thought that would be funny. And I tried and tested all different sorts of humorous speeches, right? Until I came to a point where I realized that me speaking about the silly things that I do, where I was the center of comedy, felt more natural and it landed well. But I still struggle to find speeches which are funny, just by the way. And that's why it has taken me so long. The other day, I remember that I was filling the water cooler for my parents and I realized I flooded the entire kitchen, right? I took a plate. I tried to scoop out the water from a flat floor and I realized that it was not really getting me anywhere. So I spent the entire evening trying to decode the most efficient way to drain out the water from the swimming pool that I created in the kitchen. Because I was an engineer, right? I had to figure this out. I took all of my clothes, dumped it in there, and was squeezing until my back pretty much gave up on me. I don't know how our grandparents even did it in the older times, washing clothes. They can probably be better deadlifters and power lifters than us because of how strong their backs have gotten, right? But over the path, I realized that this was the hardest and took me the longest to finish. But I realized that humor really cuts tension. You know how you want a variety in your food when you have curd rice, you want that pickle on the side. Humor is a good addition in that same way. Taking people through a journey of emotions, just like how any movie does, keeping the audience engaged at the end of their seat, wanting to know what are you going to say next. So it's just there all around us. It's just a matter of us looking into it, whether it's situational, whether it's disagreements you may have with your spouse. More often than not, humor and funny situations happen to you on a daily basis. And it's up to you whether you have a good eye, capture them, and try to make the best out of it. So with this, I come to the end of my part. Thank you so much. And over to you, TMOD.
Thank you, Toastmaster Miruna. Yes, a very great speech on reflections of your entire path and how you took up the humorous speech, how you evolved through it. Back now, let me give you another interesting fact on books. So the world's largest privately owned collection of million books. And who is the owner? The owner is John Q. Benham, who lives in Indiana in USA. And he keeps these books in very different places, such as his garage, his two-story building, and even outside his home. With this, let me invite the evaluator for our next speaker, who is Toastmaster Ritika. Toastmaster Ritika is a Toastmaster for 3 years. She has completed 3 parts and has served as a club mentor and currently serving as a club sponsor for Consberg Club. She has been a club coach as well for Images and our immediate past president too. She loves public speaking and gardening. Professionally, she works as an AVP with Citibank. And the book she likes is fiction, and not a penny more, not a penny less. Over to you, Toastmaster Ritika.
Thank you, Toastmaster Priya. Good morning, everybody. A special one to, of course, Toastmaster Richard, because I'll be evaluating his speech. Let me quickly call out the purpose statements of the project. The purpose of this project is for the member to learn about different communication styles and identify his primary style. The purpose of this speech is for the member to share the impact of his style on others. All the very best, Toastmaster Richard. With that, back to you, Toastmaster Priya.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ritika. So, Richie loves story, and he believes that a fit body, a calm mind, and a house full of love cannot be bought. They must be earned. Currently, he is reading Energize Your Mind by Gaur Gopal Das. So over to you, Toastmaster Richie. Toastmaster Richard, 2 years and 1 mouth, 2 years and 1 mouth, Toastmaster Richard.
March 1st at about 4:53 p.m., I get a call. Tring, 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 tring. Tring, 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 tring. I see my phone. Wow, that's my aunt calling me. She says, I need your advice on something, Richie. And my mind in another universe, turning pages. She's 15 years elder to me. She has a husband who is smart and intellectual. She's an extrovert, which means she has a lot of friends. And she ends up calling me for an advice. Now, what happens next is something I have been very proud of, or will be very proud of for the rest of my life. I was born in Bengaluru, but I was brought up in a small village called Gonibi. Until the age of 12, I thought my grandparents were my parents and my uncles and aunts were my brothers and sisters, because I grew up with them. currently living with. And on 24th February, he fell in bathroom and he broke his back, which also impacted his hip. As I said, I have 4 uncles and 4 aunts. They have grown up, they've gotten married, they have kids. All 8 of them drive in 8 different directions. 6 of them somewhere meet and greet, the other 2 meet and greet somewhere else, which happens in all of our families. They only meet together in WhatsApp unit, not meet at all, because all have different opinions, and ego is something that they are very proud of. Even Adanis and Ambanis do not have so much of ego. And my uncle categorically wrote that these were the expenses for my granddad's surgery. And my aunt is the one who maintains the finances of her dad, because granddad doesn't remember anything. So much so that I called him 2 weeks back and he asked me, how is your wife doing and how are your kids? I said, they miss you very much. They have asked you how you're doing. And my aunt calls me up, like I said, and she asked me, see, your uncle has told this very categorically, and he hasn't addressed me in the message. I said, first thing, I agree to your point, and you have a fair and valid point. But this is my point of view. And here is what you should consider doing. I said, you drop a message categorically on WhatsApp and say, please send me the account details. Now, if it was your money, you should not even bother about the message. But this is your dad's money. You're handling the account. Everybody knows it. So you also categorically drop a message saying, please send me the account details. And I get a reply saying, She drops the phone, and after 30 minutes, I get a call from my mother. Richie, did you say something to my sister? I said, yes, I did tell her about certain things. And she says, okay, she has dropped a note on WhatsApp saying, please share the account details. So my mother is stunned because she's her own sister. She keeps giving her advice and she doesn't take any advice at all. So she's stunned as to why she has taken my son's advice and not my advice forever in life. So I called her back and we are having a discussion at dinner table. And I said, there are 3 things that I've learned throughout the last 3-4 years. We have been talking to each other. And when we started talking to each other, I was a passive communicator. I was an aggressive communicator. And I kept on turning pages. I became passive aggressive. But now I have become an assertive speaker, which means something which Epictetus says, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Listen twice as much as you speak. And Stephen R. Conway says, we listen to respond, but we don't listen to hear. So hear the other person out. And more often than not, people will ask you for an advice. If they're asking for an advice, you have 2 options. One, you give advice, one, you don't give an advice. But since I'm from India, we all want to give advice, regardless if we know about the topic or we don't know about the topic. So if you don't know about the topic, you say, I do not have knowledge on this topic, so I can't comment, or I know a person who knows something about this topic, I'll refer you to that person. Number 2, if you know something about the topic, then you have 3 options. If somebody is younger than you, you tell them, here is what you should do, and then give them the advice. If somebody is elder than you, you should say, here is what you could consider doing, and then give the advice. If somebody is of same age as you, you can say, here is what I would do. Now you have heard the person, you are respecting the person by adding that sentence in the end. And the last thing that I would always do is, do not expect the other person to follow your advice. Yeah, this is up to them, but you have put on effort by saying, this is what you should be doing. or this is what you could consider doing. So communication style always keeps maneuvering depending upon people, but it takes a lot of time for you to assess what is your communication style. It has taken me a lot of years to come to this point in time. I might change in another couple of years, but I would say assertive style is the best style because it gives a win-win situation for both the parties. You are giving your advice, you are also making the other person feel heard. But in passive aggressive or passive aggressive style, it might work, but it always led up to conflicts. Especially with my mothers, I always had so many fights. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Richard. A very given. We don't listen as much as we speak, and we should listen more than speaking. So with this, let us invite the last evaluator for the day, Toastmaster Jayanti.
Thank you, Toastmaster Priya. So my speaker will be Toastmaster Richa, and she is attempting her level 3, project 1. The purpose of her project is to understand the types of persuasive speeches and deliver a persuasive speech in this meeting. So all the best, Toastmaster Richa, and over to you, Toastmaster Priya.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jayanti. Let us invite the last speaker for the day, Toastmaster Richa. Engineer by profession, bookworm by choice. Currently experimenting with different genres to figure out what interests her. Recently, she has completed Audacity of Hope by Barack Obama. Toastmaster Richa, he who must not be named, who must not be named, Toastmaster Richa.
Calling. Hi, Papa. Happy Diwali. How was the puja last night? Beta, do you have insurance for your mom? Insurance? Why? What happened? Your mom has been diagnosed with, well, she needs treatment. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. It was the year 2020, the year when every human alive had their lives. That there was an even bigger storm waiting its turn to wreak havoc on our family. Right on Diwali, bam! It hit us. It hit us hard. There it was, my mom's report telling that she was diagnosed with the dreaded C. C wasn't COVID. It was the C, which probably is considered death sentence all over the world. It was cancer, breast cancer. Cancer, my dear friends, is the leading cause of deaths worldwide. Hear this, in 2020, COVID is estimated to have taken around 3 million lives worldwide, 3 million. Cancer, on the other hand, is estimated or known to have taken over 10 million lives in just 2020. And there it was. It caught us off guard, unaware, unprepared, unwanted. We all hesitated to even speak the word. It seemed as if it was, or he who must not be named, because saying the word created a fear so unknown, so huge, that we could not bear the thought of it at all. We thought that not speaking the word out loud might make it all go away. Or maybe we would just wake up the next morning and be grateful it was the worst nightmare ever. However, none of it was true. because my mom was definitely diagnosed with cancer. And thanks to COVID, the earliest we could get her out of Rourkela for treatment was 15 days later. And in those 15 days, the dreaded C was he who must not be named for us, because none of us ever spoke of it. All we ever asked my mom was, how are you doing? Everyone asked. 15 days later, when my mom came to Bangalore and I saw her, I could see the symptoms out very clearly. She had a huge lump in her right breast. The breast of her skin was discolored and had dark patches all over. The area was unusually hot compared to all the other skin of her body. And of course, she was in too much of pain. This, along with many other symptoms that breast cancer has. That's when I realized, whether we like it or not, whether we hate it or whether we want it or not, it was breast cancer. Unwillingly, I had to utter out the word to my mom, Mom, this is cancer. It took me a lot of courage to speak that word out for the first time in our family ever. That's when my mom was stunned and all of us broke down. My dear friends, it was the lowest point our family had ever seen. However, we visited the oncologist and each of us then decided and was determined to fight this dreaded C and see it through. The visit to oncologist, or even speaking the name, changed a lot of things. We turned over a new leaf. And let me tell you what changed by just speaking that name out. Even before, whenever I used to have a conversation with my mom, I used to utter the word insurance or any of chronic ailments. My mom would just cut me off then and there, saying, why do you always have to talk about such things? We're all healthy, aren't we? Why do you speak the words which can bring us bad luck? Don't even think about it. Nothing will happen. Nothing bad will happen. And there, I could never finish off any of those conversations. And then that after my mom was diagnosed with cancer, I realized, had I ever finished those conversations, had I ever ensured that I mentioned breast cancer and the symptoms, my mom would be aware of it and she would have diagnosed herself or told us that, hey, I'm seeing these symptoms. Maybe she would have been diagnosed a bit early. Maybe she would have to go through one less torturous chemo session or even one less torturous radiation session, and it would all have been worth it. However, after this diagnosis, things in our family changed. We now started talking about it, talking about insurance, talking about cancer, or any other disease whatsoever. And not only just we talk among ourselves, we spread the word around. Whenever we meet people, we definitely ensure that we tell them what it is. So my dear friends, there's just one thing I ask all of you today. Take the name, speak out, spread the word. I know we all have beautiful ladies in our life who we love and care for very deeply. And breast cancer, my dear friends, can happen to any women out there. And the rate of breast cancer is rising at a very alarming rate. All we can do is ensure that we talk to each lady out there, every woman out there, and make them aware of the symptoms, make them aware that they can diagnose themselves early, and early detection definitely saves lives. We all owe it to all those beautiful ladies who we want to live happily and healthily ever, right? So please take this pledge and join me in spreading the word. Thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Richa. With this, let us move on to the evaluation session. I forgot to close the timer on the times only. Okay, now I close it. And let me call upon the first general evaluator to take us through the evaluation section, Toastmaster Jayanti.
Thank you, Toastmaster Priya. Give me a few seconds. Yes, before we start the speech evaluations, I would like to ask the timer for the speech timings.
Okay. So Miruna took 13 minutes 37 seconds and Richard took 7 minutes 6 seconds. Richard took 7 minutes 38 seconds. Over to you, Toastmaster Jain.
Thank you, Toastmaster Priya, and we can start the speech evaluation now. I would invite the second speaker evaluator, Toastmaster Ritika, to evaluate Toastmaster Richard.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jayanti. Good morning once again. Apologize for my voice cracking, but I think Toastmaster Richard's speech was so emotional. All right, yes. Now the timer can start the time. Well, Toastmaster Richard, 2 ears and 1 mouth. I think we need to keep hearing this again and again and again and again. We use our ears and we use our mouth so much, so often that sometimes we ourselves lose count of what all we are speaking. So thank you for reiterating it. I've written it down in my diary and I'm going to tell that to myself every single day. There were a lot of high points in your speech, Toastmaster Richard. Since your path is engaging in humorous style, I think your speech also showed reflections of that. So well done over there, especially when you used words like WhatsApp University. Ego is something everyone is so proud of. They all were pun intended. They had that subtle sense of humor, not just on the face throwing at us and expecting us to just laugh out loud, but those little grins were on all our faces. That was what humor is, and that is what I really liked. Your speech objectives included what your communication style is. You said you feel it is assertive communication style, but the way you delivered today, I must tell you that you can also consider your style as to be a conversational style. You were literally talking to us. You were literally giving us examples of the various conversations you've been having with your relatives just to put your point across. With your aunt, with your mom, sometimes even in your own head. So that was very well done. The way you wrote it down, the way you conveyed it. So good job there. There are a couple of recommendations, of course, from my end to take it a notch higher. In the beginning, I like the fact that you got into the intricate details. March 1st, 4:53 on the clock. I got a call. I was waiting for a role play there. I got a call. Listen, Richard, I need some advice. Instead, you went in the active passive voice that my aunt asked me for an advice. You could have gone with a direct sense of communication, continued with the details and made it a conversation. That would have really sounded better, sounded more powerful. Since you were having a lot of conversations and you had a lot of takeaways for the audience as well. For example, we all are Indians and we have a lot of advice all the time, right? Ask a question when you have too many statements. That breaks the monotony. And the audience suddenly wakes up to, oh, it's our turn to respond. You know, that's what is an advanced speaker all about. Get the audience on board with your speech. Lastly, your conclusion. I was wanting you to reiterate the 3 points. I was wanting a little more humor in your conclusion that, you know what, WhatsApp University may be something, but 2 ears and 1 mouth is something else. Something like that. Bring the title back. Put your point again, and then close the loop, which is integral. So overall, Toastmaster Richard, excellent speech. I love the conversation style that you have. Keep nurturing it. Include a little audience interaction, and I'm sure your speech will be high up there. With that, back to you, Toastmaster Jayanti.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ritika, for presenting that detailed evaluation. I hope it would be useful for Toastmaster Richard. And now coming to our second evaluation, third evaluation. Second evaluation for our third speaker, Toastmaster Richa. So the evaluator is me, and I'll be presenting my report. First of all, congratulations, Toastmaster Richa, for completing your level 3 project 1. Let's give her a big round of applause. And now coming to speech, I was so involved into your speech because the speech was so emotional. I rarely found what I should tell you, but I have tried my best. There were a few things which I loved about your speech. First of all, the title of the speech, He Who Shall Not Be Named or Who Is Not to Be Named, it created that suspense that what she is going to talk about, and that kept us hooked from the starting. It took me back to those Harry Potter, that villain who should not be named, and so beautiful job there. Coming to your vocal variety, it was wonderful because you explained those dreadful scenes that you have seen, and how you did not feel good when you found your mother with those symptoms. It's not easy to explain, but you gave them words, you gave words to your emotions and presented in a speech. So wonderful job there. You also gave us some information on cancer, that how many lives it is taking. It give us that magnitude of that problem, that how big is the problem. And lastly, you concluded your speech with a message. And you concluded the speech with a message that why we should diagnose ourselves for the cancer. So wonderful speech, Richa. You really made it difficult. You made it difficult for me to find something that should be improved, but great job there. Coming to what I feel could have done, you could have done better in your speech. Only one thing, that to make a bigger impact, I would ask you to take note of your unnecessary movements, because you are standing and sometimes while delivering, you are excited and then moving a little bit here and there. Instead, when you're delivering your speech, I would ask you to stand still and present your message. That would have a higher impact. Other than that, it was a wonderful speech. And the two things that I was looking when I read out your objective was that you share a personal experience, because other than that, audience will never be persuaded to do something. And I found that. So excellent job there, and a beautiful message. So thank you, Toastmaster Richa. And I hope you will take note of those unnecessary movements when you stand and deliver your speech. So again, congratulations, and over to you. Over to you. It's me again. Okay, let's give a big round of applause to Toastmaster Richa again. And last of all, not last, but the most important is Toastmaster Miruna. She has completed her path. So let's all of us give a standing ovation, because it's not easy to complete the whole path, and that too in a genre which is very, very new for us.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Actually, the last speech I gave was about 2-3 years back, so it's been a very long time. Yeah, thank you.
We can see. Okay, now let's come to our tag reporting. I would call a timer for today to present evaluators time now. Toastmaster
Okay.
Priya.
Toastmaster Ritika took 3 minutes and 26 seconds for her evaluation, and Jayanti, you took 3 minutes and 12 seconds. That is from my side. Over to you, Toastmaster Jayanti.
Thank you, Toastmaster Priya. Now coming to our counter for today, Toastmaster Deepa, to present your report.
Hey, hi. Thank you, Toastmaster Jayanti. Miruna, I would like to start with Miruna. It was a great speech. There were so many so's, I lost the count of it. Couple of R's, couple of and, but, and right. So coming to Toastmaster Richard, but and was mostly used to the conversation. Coming to Toastmaster Priya, lot of breaks, abrupt breaks during the conversation. It appears that you're searching for words to say. The and so is very evident while conversing, and comes in and out at the wrong places. That's for Priya. Toastmaster Jayanti, normally your speech is very clean. I think sometimes when you're stuck, you try to replace that with ahs and ands. Yes, so that's the observation. Richa, I think she was prepared so well. I could hardly find anything. I spotted a and, that's about it. Ritika, it's excellent in a conversation. She's very thoughtful. She's very slow. So I couldn't really find any such words or any opportunity to call out for any observation. My general feedback is we are so in our conversation, we normally use and so very naturally. That's the Indian way of speaking. I think we should learn to pause and pause to take up the next sentence so we can avoid this so and. So that's the observation. So maybe we should all practice that during our speeches in this forum. Thank you. Back to Toastmaster Jayanti.
Thank you, Toastmaster Deepa. Now I call upon Toastmaster Shweta to present her grammarian report.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jayanti. So word of the day was used by Toastmaster Richard, and phrase of the day was used by Toastmaster Richa. Apart from that, I think I couldn't pick up any grammatical mistakes, but I would like to share my screen and show few words which I found were good uses. I hope you can see my screen. Is it visible?
Yes, Shweta.
Okay. So the first word is oncologist, which is someone a doctor who specializes in diagnosis and treatment of cancer. Then second word is stunned, which means to be shocked or overwhelmed by something. Third word is audacity, which is the willingness to take bold risk. Then categorically, which is in absolute unqualified manner without any exceptions or conditions. Bookworm, a person who loves reading books and spends great deal of time doing so. Maneuver is a planned and skillful move or action. Dreaded means something which is feared and which can cause anxiety. And the quotes which I found really good in today's meeting were these two. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, and we listen to respond, but don't listen to hear. So I'll share this in group. Improve your vocabulary with these words. And that's all for my report. Back to you, Toastmaster Jayanti.
Yeah. Thank you, Toastmaster Shweta, for presenting your report. Now coming to my overall evaluations. I would like to thank each of the role takers, our Sergeant at Arms. He was busy, still he took up the time to come here and open our meeting. Our presiding officer, as always, announced and welcome our guests. Coming to our Toastmaster of the day, she has also done a great job hosting the whole session. The only thing I would ask of the Toastmaster of the day, to manage the time, because after the speeches, we just quickly moved into the evaluation section. She could have engaged the audience a little bit, so that would give the evaluators a little bit of time to organize their points. And that's the only thing I would ask. Now coming to, we did not have table topic speakers, wonderful job. Every one of you has something that what I love about speakers and why I join, what motivates me to join every meeting is that I get something and I take it away from each of the session. And today, all three of the speakers had something that I will take away and use in my daily life. So thank you, Toastmaster Miruna. Thank you, Toastmaster Richard. And thank you, Toastmaster Richard, coming here, delivering your speeches, which gave us a lot of points. And congratulations again, delivering your speeches. And coming to evaluators, Toastmaster Ritika, as always, wonderful evaluation. And coming to me, I would ask if I was given a little more time from Toastmaster of the day, it could have been a little better, but I hope Toastmaster Richa find useful the evaluations. And lastly, our tag team, they have also done a wonderful job. So let's give a big round of applause again. And as the general evaluator of today, I would ask that today this meeting looks little down in energy, and I'm not sure why. Maybe that's me, or really it is like that, not sure, but I would like to see members interacting a little more, coming and be here in energy. Energy is really, we can feel it. Even if you are away from me, maybe thousands of kilometers, but when I see you, I can see you how you feel. So maybe next time when you come to the meeting, take a bath, sleep well, prepare well, and come to the meeting. You will feel nice. We all will feel nice. So that's from me. That's the evaluation. And I will quickly hand over the stage to Toastmaster Priya to conclude the session. You're on mute, Priya.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jayanti. I'll definitely take note and give some more time for evaluation session next time. So for the last two facts, which I found fascinating, was that the longest novel ever written is by Marcel Proust, which contains 96,09,000 characters. And a person who carries a book with him always is known as a book bosom. This word we can add to our vocabulary. And that's it from my side. Overall, a very engaging session. And back to you, our presiding officer of the day, Toastmaster Chen.
Thank you, Toastmaster Priya. And I have put the voting link in the chat box. You all can go ahead and vote for your role taker. And since there were a few members who have taken multiple roles. Okay. Give me a second. Yes, now it is open. Yeah, I was saying since there were few members today who have taken multiple roles, including me, it becomes a little difficult to manage the role. So I would request the members to participate actively so that every role taker can prepare well for their role. So that is something I would ask. And let's give a minute to everyone to vote. I will also go and vote. In the meantime, since everyone has shared about the books and today the theme was books, only one person who has not spoken in the whole meeting is Nivedita. Nivedita, would you like to share what book are you reading, or if you have any recommendation for everyone?
Thanks, Jayanti. I mean, like, I was very busy listening. So yeah, it was a long speech and it was inspiring because like more than 5 minutes engaging the audience is not an easy task. And then good job, Richard and Brunilla and Richa as well. So yeah, it is inspiring. It is motivating me to join the club as early as possible. So that's one. And yeah, talking about books, I do read, but mostly personality development books, not any fictional as such. I haven't moved there yet. So yeah, so it's based on situation. Like I mostly have Ikigai or Atomic Habits, or maybe a 1 minute manager. I kind of like the third one, 1 minute manager, because like it has helped me in my day-to-day work as well. It gives us action points there, like if at all you are in a particular situation, or how to give a feedback to your team member. You don't have to really elaborate and then explain so much, just focus on the activity that you want them to focus on or improve on. So these are like small points which is very impactful. So I'm kind of busy reading that these days. And yeah, I was not a passionate kid about books at the early age, but eventually I started reading, and then I started seeing the improvement in me and my vocabulary as well. So even if I feel low while talking, I kind of read book aloud, maybe like for 5 to 7 minutes, or like close to 10-15 pages. I could actually see the difference in my vocabulary as well when I did that. Overall, reading book has really helped me. So yeah, I'll continue to do that, and I ask my kids to read books as well. So yeah, thank you for asking.
Thank you, Nivedita. That gave us actually the points, comprehensive, something comprehensive on why we should read books. And in fact, that is so true. When how I relate is because when we read books, I'm not feeling good. There are a lot of things going on in my mind. You just read some pages of your favorite book that somehow calms our mind.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nivedita, for sharing. So I will quickly announce the results now. Our best role taker for the day goes to General Evaluator Toastmaster Jayanti. Thank you, everyone. Best auxiliary role taker goes to, this one is our counter Toastmaster Deepa. Let's give her a big round of applause. Best speaker goes to Toastmaster Richa. That was indeed emotional and insightful. Best evaluator goes to Toastmaster Ritika. And then we have beautiful recommendations for next week. Live, mangoes ahead, running, summertime. A lot of summer is really here. So we'll take something for our next week theme, but the next week is going to be a speech marathon. So I would again request those who are waiting for a good time to deliver your speech, there cannot be a better time. So go ahead and start writing your speech from today itself, so that you cannot say, I am not prepared at all.
Deepa is raising her hand.
Yeah,
Yes,
I have
Deepa.
a question. So on the speech marathon session, everybody takes turns and just speak, is it? That's how we go in our own club.
Yeah, it's like delivering how we usually deliver a speech. Usually we have 2, 1 or 3 speeches. We would like to have more than 3 speeches, and that's how the session will have only speeches. That's all.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Speeches and evaluations.
Yes, right, Richa. It just comes with that. Okay. So we have announced the results. So Ramesh will not come on camera, I know. Richard, if you can come on camera, we'll take a photo. And I will share today who all have taken part and who is eligible for that 5 role taker award, who are still in competition. Yes, let's get this. Ramesh is so energetic. We can see him driving and he's still on camera. Okay, great. Richard, are you in gym? Okay, great. 1, 2, 3. Say cheese. Done. So I'll share the photo now. And thank you everyone for joining. We'll see you next week. And I announce the meeting close.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.